Yo, the ideas for these videos come from other videos. They come from conversations that I have every single day. Sometimes they come from conversations that I've had over the past couple of months, weeks, years, whatever. This one is going to be a combination of all of those into one, and the thing at hand is a drug called semaglutide. I can parallel this conversation very closely to the conversations that I've had with performance-enhancing drugs. I have spoken to people who have used them, and a lot of the stuff that I tell everybody on the YouTube channel is through those people's experiences, through what I have seen as they do those things, or from what they have told me when they use those things. And then, of course, also through the thousands of things that I've read on the internet. But when it comes to the semaglutide, the sources are fewer that I've had on the internet, and the interactions that I've had in person are even slimmer. That doesn't mean that I haven't had a couple of them, and I'm going to parallel both the umbrella in which I speak along with a couple of my most recent videos along with the topic at hand. And again, it's semaglutide, also called Wegovy, and apparently also called Ozempic. I pulled a clip off of a website called T Nation the other day that's titled Semaglutide, Ozempic, Wegovy, Miracle Fat Loss Drugs, ? And then at the headline it says, do they work? Are they safe? Elon Musk took semaglutide to get leaner. Kim K supposedly took it to whittle down that dump trunk of a butt. Should you? Info here. Up until I read this article, basically what I knew of it was that it has been around for a long time, but it only was recently implemented as something that could be used to lose weight. The method to which that I had seen it work with these people who are, yes, losing the weight is through a new lens of disgust towards food. They titrate the dose up over about 8 weeks. There's a certain dosage given at week 1, there's a certain dosage given at week 3, 5, and then their top dosage begins at week 7. That's what the typical protocol that I have actually seen given to these people. And typically they top out about that 40 dose unit. And the reason that they need to do this ever so slowly is because with this, the side effects are nasty. That disgusting feeling that you get when you look at food, if you were to just jump into a top-end dose right away, you'd go days and days and days just throwing up your guts. It sounds really healthy, doesn't it? I mean, just something about that tells me that it's probably not the best idea. And that might actually stem from what its actual purpose is from. And if you look at this article, it says that you probably have heard the Ozempic commercials. The drug is typically injected subcutaneously once a week, and it lowers blood sugar levels by simultaneously releasing insulin, which is hugely helpful with people with type 2 diabetes. Semaglutide also mimics a hormone called glucagon type peptide 1 that tells our stomach that we feel full, along with prompting our stomach to slow down the transit of food. Those things, of course, are a recipe for weight loss. One rivals bariatric surgery, the procedure where they surgically reduce the size of your stomach to about the size of a pouch in which your AirPods come in. So it's like this little thing right here. Typically, you hear that your stomach's about the size of your fist and it can expand to meet the demands of which the food you're eating. And I believe, don't quote me on this, but bariatric surgery is also gastric bypass surgery. No, maybe not. Tell me I'm an idiot in the comments section. But the process at which, whether or not it's the same thing, is they shrink your stomach down so that when you're eating food, it's like, well, I can't eat any more food. I feel like I'm going to die. That is the way at which this drug makes you feel as if it is working as well. Which brings me to my opinion on the umbrella in which I said I wanted to talk on this stuff. No joke, yesterday I'm driving around with a Lexus and I said, I go through situations in my life where I like to see how I'm going to react. And one of those things is if I were to stub my toe on something, there's an initial reaction that you're going to have. The initial reaction for a lot of people is, oh, my toe, ah! And I try to do everything in my power to say, yeah. How am I doing? This is good. Okay. This is a chance for me to train my brain to not react. It's crazy shit like that I'll try to do with stuff like stubbing your toe. It could very well be broken and it hurts more than anything that you've ever experienced. Like stepping on a Lego, stepping on a nail, getting stung by a bee, walking around in the cold. You're sitting in a sauna and you want to get out in 15 minutes. You put yourself through another 25 minutes because you want to see what happens to you in those moments. You listen to your body. Your body's telling you to do something. And then your brain, and you are training yourself to get better at not doing the things at which you want to from a physiological standpoint move into or away from. It's like, oh, it's too hot, I gotta get out. Or, oh, this hurts, I gotta scream. It's too cold, put on more layers. And in the case of food, You're thinking, oh, I'm hungry, I gotta eat. A lot of you have probably heard that usually that means that you're likely thirsty. You're not actually hungry. Your body gets those two senses confused. So if you were to drink a glass of water when you get that hunger pain, you'd be good to go and you wouldn't have had to have really eaten anything. But this drug, let's just say you do eat. You haven't trained your brain to go through that sense of like, okay, why am I hungry? What's going on? Am I actually thirsty? Have I just eaten? Did I eat 2 hours ago and now I need to eat again? If you can't control yourself, it shuts you down. I had 2 Oreos and now I feel like I want to die. It's the exact same way that gastric bypass works. It's like you can only fit so much food in that thing and then it's done. It's an ass around way to the answer that is eat less food and then you will lose weight. So you scroll down a little bit on this article and it says how much weight loss is typical. Users of the semaglutide products typically lose up to 15% of their body mass in just a few weeks without making any modifications to their diet or exercise habits. Whether most of this weight loss is comprised largely of fat with a modicum of muscle mass would of course be dependent on the user's protein intake and type of intensity of exercise. You know, that's interesting because at the beginning it says that it doesn't require any changes to your exercise, and at the bottom it says if you exercise you'll probably keep more muscle mass, which all around would change that 15% number. But also, you might not need to make any dietary changes, but you are going to be forced into a position in which you can no longer eat the way that you are accustomed to. People are overweight because they eat too much. I just finished up a massive podcast where I was listening to an individual say that if they're going to go and eat a bunch of food, they know that they might need to work out a little bit more or eat a little bit less later, and they were tying that into a possible eating disorder. Which, when you get extreme about it, it's probably some sort of an eating disorder, yeah. Like if I'm going to eat one giant meal on a Friday like I would in wrestling, and then I wouldn't eat until the next Friday because I have to lose that weight to get back down to my weight class, and I wasn't doing it for the purpose of a sport, that would be considered an eating disorder. That's a very extreme way of doing it. It's like you gain 20 pounds on Friday, and then you gotta lose 20 pounds slowly all the way by the time you get back to that next Friday. That's not good. And then in the average everyday life of the, United States citizen, you probably do that thing where it's like, I'm good Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, all hell breaks loose.
If you're not drunk, ladies and gentlemen,
Saturday, oh, well, I wasn't good on Friday. I might as well also not be good on Saturday. Sunday, I felt like such a piece of shit on Friday and Saturday that now I'm going to eat to make myself feel better. And, I'm already so far gone. Monday rolls around, you're good, you're good, you're good, you're good. Friday, repeat the cycle.
all of the alcoholics, where you at? Let's go! Hey!
And if you were to ask me which one of those is a worse disorder or circle of life to be in, I would say that it's the average everyday person. It's the one that everyone wants to feel well and good about. You want to feel good about yourself? Put yourself in the group of the 90 to 95% of people that do that crap. And then they're also probably going to be looking for something like a Wegovy or a gastric bypass because they're going to do that stuff that they do on Friday. They haven't trained their brains to say, oh, I've stubbed my toe, I'm gonna scream. Most people would scream, right? Most people would scream. They look at me, Andrew Hiller, over in the corner, and they're gonna say, he stubbed his toe and he didn't even make a sound. He just looks like he's freaking in Zen mode. He puts his hands up, he crosses his legs, and he's like, I'm here, this is good. That guy's insane. He's got a disorder. In the meanwhile, the people who will look at a day like Friday and say, okay, I'm gonna have sushi. Sushi's a lot of rice. It's something where I can eat quite a bit of it. I'll probably be in a calorie surplus of 1,000 calories. So when Saturday and Sunday roll around, maybe I'll do an extra 10 minutes on the stationary bike because I don't want to gain that extra weight. And I know that if I do that sort of thing, I need to do this sort of thing. It seems a little bit more analytical than the aimless and crazy, in my opinion, mindset that is, I'm going to do this to keep me from doing that. I need to have this gastric bypass to keep myself from eating too much food. Wegovy. I'm going to take the drugs away from the people who have diabetes, a drug created for diabetics, to, increase their insulin levels because I can't control myself, because I like to feel good about myself. The people who do the things to take care of themselves to an extent, they're crazy. You stub your toe, you should scream. Let it out. Feel your emotions. And if you really want it to be, I said there was 3 layers of this, right? There's the umbrella to which I talk about, which is the thing that is the answer is usually not the easiest. This is an easy answer. You can't lose weight? Inject a drug. Get a surgery. That's an easy way to lose weight. The umbrella is the CrossFit methodology. It's not easy. It's simple, right? That's what Greg Glassman would always say. Oh, I need to eat less food. Duh, but that's not easy, which is why they create drugs to make it easier on people who don't want to do the things that train themselves to make the correct choices when a push comes to shove. The middle thing where I've made videos recently talking about this, again, is the Liver King. Andrew's going to bring up the Liver King.
The 8th ancestral tenet is fight.
Fight. You put yourself through situations where things get tough. What's the hardest thing that you've ever done? What's the hardest thing you've done recently? How many hard things have you put yourself through? In the modern age where everything is so easy and so nice and it's like, oh my God, it's 10 degrees outside. I can't walk through 2 inches of snow. I'm gonna die. It's also probably likely those exact same people that don't know what it's like to put the fork down and stop eating food. They're gonna need some help. If you did regularly expose yourself to a headspace that is, what am I doing? Am I supposed to be angry? Am I supposed to be hungry? Don't just eat food because your body's telling you to. Fight a little bit for a second. If you do that over and over and over again, it's just like training your body to get bigger biceps. I want bigger biceps, so I'm going to put myself through a program where I'm increasing a stimulus on that muscle time after time after time, and eventually it's going to respond, adapt, and become better. You can do the same thing with your mind. You don't need this drug. You don't need that surgery. You just need to tell yourself that it is something that you as a human being have control of. I'm done ranting. Don't take that drug. Andrew Hiller, out.